Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Cami. It's so good to have you. And I just wanted to thank you so much for our conversation that we had about vapes. So thank you for having this interview with me.
You're welcome.
Oh, can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. So when people think about JUULs and what they look like, I guess you would say that these are kind of old-timey looking JUULs. And what you shared with me was something that I had no idea about. But what's the one thing, I think you even talked about it in one of your slides, about one JUUL and how many cigarettes?
I think that's well, right here in the slide it said, in the picture it said, well, how much nicotine is in JUUL? One JUUL pod contains 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine. And so one JUUL equals, well, yeah, 20 cigarettes.
Yeah, isn't that unbelievable?
Sorry.
And how much did you know about JUUL before we started talking about it in this month's tip? Have you heard things about it before?
No, I've actually never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it before.
Okay, now you can go to the next slide. So this is really something that surprised me so much, because one of the things that I realize is that if we don't talk to young people, then we'll still believe the same old thing about products and what they look like and um, things like that. So, so when did you hear about Elf Bar? How did you find out about it, I guess is my question.
Um, I actually don't know. I guess I came across it because I was talking to Natalia about vapes, and then she started talking about, oh, so many people at my school have those, and she thought it was AirPod cases or something. And when they drop them, she was wondering why they picked it up so fast. She was
Mm-hmm.
like, you don't have to pick it up that fast. But then I started, but then I had already had some knowledge about the elf bar. So, and when I was talking to Natalia about it, she had no idea that it was a vape because they also have AirPod cases that actually look the same as this.
Wow, that's amazing. So you can go to the next slide.
Okay,
Do
do
you
you
want
want me
to
to
tell
read?
me? Yes, please.
Let me hide this. Okay. Electronic vapes, nicotine free. Electronic vapes are just a different kind of cigarette. It is called an e-cigarette. The JUUL vape is a vape that contains 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine. There are vapes without nicotine in them, and they are called non-nicotine vapes.
Mm.
Certain people think just because there is no nicotine in a certain vape means that it is okay to do it. How dare you? You are absolutely wrong, wrong, wrong. There may not be nicotine, but that does not mean it cannot become addicting. There may be no nicotine, but there are still chemicals that can become addicting and harmful. Electronic vapes are just as bad as regular cigarettes, especially ones with nicotine.
Wow. And it's so weird that, you were just saying that those elf bars, some have nicotine, some don't,
Mhm.
and they're in all kinds of flavors and everything. So let's go to the next slide.
Flavors of elf bar vapes. There are different flavors of vapes. That's how they get you hooked. It's that flavor. People can get very addicted to vapes just because of the flavor. Nicotine or no nicotine, there are flavors like strawberry mango, bluegrass, peach, and more. Don't let flavored nicotine products get to you. Addiction has low highs and even lower lows. People call their People call vapes their happiness stick or happy stick. A
Wow.
lot of people convince innocent young adults and kids to do harmful things.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm not really surprised about, because even when vapes first came out, they didn't have fancy looking things like they do now, but the flavors is what gets kids and adults too. And so one of the things that I did when I was teaching some classes is to say, do you really think that someone stands someplace and mashes up some strawberries and squeezes it into a vape pod? No, it's all chemicals made to taste and look like strawberry or mango or those kinds of things. And happiness stick or happy stick. Wow. So what do you think about that, the happy stick thing?
So I actually found that out like a really long time ago,
Mm,
because I before we started talking about this, I actually saw a lot of ads about that, but
mm,
also I just from those videos, I know a lot of people do that. And also there are vape ads that talk about no vaping, but it still mentions that this is what they call it, because without it, since they're already addicted, without it, they just keep wanting it and wanting it. That's why it's also so hard for them to quit. But that's also why they call it their happy stick, because that they think that it makes them happy, but really it just worsens what they have or
mm.
causes more things.
Wow. Thank you, Cami. You can go to the next slide.
Who are they after?
Yeah.
Kids. They're after kids, but they're kid-friendly vapes with no nicotine. They do this so other kids can get harmed or to tell other children about it. Each day, young adults and children get vapes just for fun or the flavor, which the flavors are mostly made from chemicals. Vaping is never the right direction, nor the left.
Wow. And the thing is, so who do you think is the problem? Because some people say, well, children should know better, or parents should do more about it, or the person that sells the product should know more about it. Because the law actually says that someone has to um, be 21 years old before they can buy any tobacco product.
Mhm.
And and sometimes, how can kids know if nobody talks to them? And how can parents know if they don't really know anything about it? So it's about education, and that's what you're doing tonight. And I thank you so much. Hey, have there been kids in middle school that you know of that have had problems with vapes that you know of?
Um, I don't know, but I have heard about them at my school. I've heard that some people use them, but I don't know anyone who would.
Yeah, well, this wasn't at your school, but at another school, there were kids who were caught on the playground with vapes. I don't think they really knew what was going on with them. They probably took it from an older sibling or maybe their parents, and they were kind of showing it off on the playground, and they got into a lot of trouble for it. And so, my last question for you is, why aren't you trapped or enticed or pulled in by some products like these Elf Bar and other flavored vapes? Why don't you do it?
Well, I don't do it because I know how people end up when they do it, but also I don't do it because I want my body to be healthy, because that's how a lot of people have to get new lungs.
Mm,
And sometimes people like are in the hospital for the rest of their lives or something, or they have to have like a tube so they can talk.
mhm,
And so just I would never want to harm my body like that.
mhm. And I think that's so great. I think one of the things also is because you are very athletic. And,
Yeah.
in order to succeed in athletics, you have to have a healthy body so your body can function the way that you want it to. So what's the sport that you were playing that just got over with?
Volleyball. I'm actually wearing a volleyball shirt right now. I got these from my award ceremony.
Oh, that is so cool. And award ceremony. Why did you? Wow, that is so cool,
For
Cameron.
all the names.
Oh, wow. That is so great. Thank you for sharing that. So, why did you get something from an award ceremony, if you don't mind my asking?
So basically first at the award ceremony, first they give you a medal, like they give everybody a medal. Then after that, they do individual awards. So everybody gets a reward.
Mhm,
No, not everybody, but certain people who they think best deserves it
mhm.
gets a trophy or award based on what the coaches think. I got one and I got the most improved. But actually I had a feeling that I was gonna get that because one time one of my plays were really, really good.
Mhm.
And after the game, the coaches just kept complimenting me, and they kept saying I was the most improved. And then the next day at practice, my coach had mentioned it again. So I
Mhm.
was just like, I have a feeling.
That's fantastic. And I think that's one of the things that kids can do to take an interest in something else other than video games and YouTube. I mean, you can balance those things as long
Yeah.
as you're not always on your phone or your device or always on social media, because you even learn discipline when you have to make sure your body performs. So, what's the next slide?
Oh, it's just the
Mhm.
ending. Oh,
It's fine.
mm,
Okay. So go back, go back for a second. So even though we've said everything, this was a great, thank you so much, Cami. This will help a lot of kids, a lot of adults, everybody. And so is there anything that you would like to say in closing?
I just want to say, like for the people out there, don't encourage young adults and kids to vape. They sometimes they just want to do it for fun or just because their friend or other people encourage them to. But I just feel like, well, personally, when I want to try something new, I don't care what it is, even if I know it with my heart, even though I know every single thing about it, I always research about it or I ask questions about it from other people who have experienced it.
Mhm.
So that's what I recommend other people to do. But also just don't vape. It's not good for you.
Well, thank you so much, Cami. I really appreciate this interview. You've been great. And wait a second, how old are you? What school do you go to? What grade are you in?
So I'm 11, but I'm turning 12 in 2 months. But really, one second. I have 60. Oh, I don't know if you can see it.
No? Okay.
67 days. I have 67 days and I go to Rochester Middle School and what was the last question?
Nothing. I just want to say that you're wonderful and I appreciate your taking the time for
I
this.
could show you the trophy.
Oh, yes, please. I'd love
Okay,
to see
I'll
it.
be right back.
Okay. We're getting ready to see a trophy, y'all. I'm excited. I hope you are too. It's coming. It's coming.
I'm back.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. So this is the trophy.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. Woo! That is awesome. That's no little tiny little thing. It's got your name and everything. Congratulations. And I know it's going to be one of many, many more to come. So,
Yes, when I got this, even at the award ceremony, So the time I got home, I did not want to put this down. I was holding it the whole entire car ride. I did not want to put it down.
You should be very proud. Okay, Cami, thank you so much. Have a great evening, and I appreciate your presentation so much.